I hope he knows. Jump in the waiting room, Seto. We are underway. We're going to be doing a little bit of fiddling, getting Seto's voice, I think, at an accurately decent level. Regardless, this is going to be his first cast with us. All right, hold on, Seto. I have you muted because we were doing the voice testing the other day. I'm going to adjust your volume quick. Speak up, sir.
Go ahead. Ready whenever you are.
All right, I'm going to turn you up a little higher here. Oh, lobby
Oh, we're
crash.
back from you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Lobby crashed.
Good timing.
Good timing. Perfect. Perfect. And oh, there it is. We're back. There we go. Got a BM penny. All right. Damn it. My phrase didn't get out. I was trying to say in the chat, one win goes to BB and S. So for Penny's antics of unplugging the router. That being said, Seto, do you want to introduce yourself? I don't know. Something quick?
Yeah, my name's Seto Kaiba. I don't have a tagline yet. Happy to be here.
That's fine. I don't really have a tagline either. I'm just here.
Yeah.
I'm just here. So, that being said, let's get on into this. I'm kind of curious to see if Penny and Julian on Mod Abuse can kind of carry over this weight, right? Like they kind of won pretty convincingly in the last 2 games.
I think the momentum for them obviously is going to help. You know, they're warmed up, they're ready to go.
And I would agree. I think there's kind of like a hidden bonus to that too, but it can be a detriment, right? Like it was a 3-game series, and you know if the games were, you know, a half an hour, 45 minutes, like some games in League of Legends, for instance, that previous 3-game series can be a detriment. But I think at the end of the day, it was an hour roughly for all 3 games. They're not detrimental, but it's not necessarily a huge positive either. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. We do see Fiesta out of Penny. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I Fiesta Castle, we're going to do a lot of ramping, it looks like.
It looks like they want to go late with this, for sure. Drosh going for a greed start. I think he's going to try to be the, I would say, the balancing act to Slickens here. Slickens likes to over push sometimes, which kind of explains why he went with the cartel here. We get 20s across the board aside from Slickens, which, seeing that he is a bone crusher, could potentially be interesting. We do see the snail sitting in wait as well.
Depending on what Slickens does next, a snail or a double snail going into the next round could be maybe bad for him. Bone Crusher early is just insanely powerful.
The way I look at it is, and he already went 5 worker here, if he has enough to get a single gargoyle and a bone warrior, it will hold any 40 sen that is available. It will hold a double snail, it'll hold a lizard, a DT, however he wants to place it, it will hold all of it.
I think the only early build that I'm worried about here might be Penny's with the Fire Archer and the Gargoyle. Everyone else has chance to ramp up.
I would agree. I think Fire Archer and Gargoyle is a little bit of a riskier start in the sense that it's going to have some weaknesses if he doesn't get close to those thresholds, right? Like he's going to need a Green Devil upgrade or something here soon. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit scary, right?
He was the first to 6 workers. Let's see how that works out for him. He's sitting on 50 Mythium as well, so
The positive here, right, with the Fiesta is he does have that time with those workers. But if you look over at Drosh and Slickens, they're also both 6 workers apiece. So the time, while good for Penny, is also potentially a detriment if you allow the enemy to also push and utilize that time. And we're getting even longer waves as well because the Bone Crusher is kind of a pain in the butt to deal with sometimes. All right? Kind of see what
when
happens.
used properly, of course, yeah.
Yes, when used properly. If you're talking about 1500 elo, Bone Crusher usually isn't too crazy to worry about, but it can be semi-problematic as you get a little bit more pushed into it. We do see Slickens and Drosh both opting for the Brute, which I think is going to be relatively powerful, as well as Penny and Julian sending for income, feeling the pressure.
Thankfully, we have 3 gargoyles now, I guess, for Penny, which is just going to be strong on 3. But that's not really going to be a good answer because his only DPS is the Fire Archer, and that fades out quickly.
Well, and I'd argue too, like, even just if you look at the gargoyles as being a semi DPS unit, right? At the end of the day, the Brute just slows down any DPS early, right? It just negates so much time that a unit will deal damage, and we're seeing the products of it here, right? That is a 78 and a 50% leak out of both Julian and Penny. Not looking too great. This is probably going to put them down to 50%, if not lower.
Definitely lower, and a pretty good amount of gold into the pockets of Slickens and Drosh here.
Yeah, 44 and 42 gold respectively, which is not something to scoff at. That's a full worker here on Wave for if they choose to go that route, right? It seems a little bit like Penny and Julian were almost disrespectful to Drosh and Slickens in this start, going Fiesta and not anticipating a large send on 3.
So let's give this game a story. I mean, this really could just be a callback to the first series where Penny and Julian gave the first game in the series to their opponents. Maybe we're just looking for the three-peat.
I think they could be toying with him a little bit, right? I think also part of it is both Drosh and Slickens are, relatively speaking, newcomers to the scene, right? Drosh started playing about launch period, as well as Slickens, right? And now Slickens has put in quite some time in the game, and so has Drosh. So they've got definitely the hours to compete at this high of a level, but other players aren't going to necessarily have the familiarity with them. You do see the Hermit coming out here. Thank you very much for the ping. Hermit going into something like Fire Elemental and Golden Bucklers can definitely slow down the ability for the Fire Ellies to deal adequate damage across the wave. But we see quite a bit of gold sitting on Drosh here in reserve, and the Green Devil coming out in response.
The Green Devil absolutely going to be massive and at least delaying for the Fire Elemental to do what it does best, and that's just damage over time across the large spread. So I'm looking at the additional 2 snails too. So the 120 cent going into the Fire Elemental, it's probably going to add up to a lot of damage here.
I think it's going to be really key to see what this Fire Elemental is able to target early, and what the Hermit is also aggroing, correct? Like, the Hermit aggroing down the natural defense of Drosh, right? But in that same time period, you end up getting the boss on wave 5, the Scorpion King, as you'd call it, killed out by the Green Devil and the Fire Elemental's damage, giving Drosh free reign to push now off that 120 sen, and he is not looking very weak now until about wave 9.
He's got a lot of freedom here with the 9 workers. It's going to be, depending on what they do with this lead that they're sitting on, probably not super great for Penny and Julian. But again, we are looking at a ramp. I can't forget about that. The Fiesta into the castle. If Penny and Julian make it to 10, they could easily catch up.
I think that's the thing we got to look for, right? The long-term ability of both Penny and Julian to scale, right? We see both Grarl coming out of Penny and Julian here, looking for the shifts, right? Knowing that Drosh and Slickens have some big Mythium saved up, right? We got a 170 and a 180 Mythium stack on Drosh and Slickens respectively, and it's going to come as kind of a boiling point here. We see a Mimic and a Pack Leader being sent out. The Mimic should do quite well into Penny so far, seeing as we have quite a bit of arcane defense and Swift, right? And the Pack Leader should do pretty well into the Aziria at this point. Not sure how it will end up. I think the Bunk addition here by Penny should be enough to slow down the attack of the Mimic, but it kind of depends on what's being aggroed, right? Currently, the Mimic is aggroing on the Green Devil, it looks like. Which is...
It's unfortunate. I think the Aziria was one round too early. If we had spent that money pretty much anywhere else, I think it would have been better off for Julian.
Yeah, I think you're correct there. Had that been something else, like even a upgraded Canopy, you could maybe see something happening, but that is very much a good game out of Drosh and Slickens. I called, as a joke, the 2-0 in the lobby screen prior to you coming in, and I think we might potentially see Block Build and Starve pull it off.
As you said, Penny and Julian are veterans. I don't think that one loss is going to get them down.
I think if there's anybody who can come back, it is definitely Penny and Julian. That being said, this definitely creates a interesting situation, right? What the heck? My keyboard is acting up. So hold on here. Ah, that's why. There we go. Now I'm good. Okay, we're good to go. Sorry, my keyboard wasn't working for a minute there. I went to go change the overlay, and it didn't.